Ahoy hoy! Hibby here from Hibby's Homestead, and I had some shaggy parasols growing in my front yard, and so I wanted to pick them out and show you guys them and just kind of show you how to identify them so that you know 100% that you're eating an edible mushroom as opposed to something that's going to give you some really horrible stomach problems. So I'll show you where they're growing. Just had them in the front yard here. They it's funny because we'd rototilled the spot, and then all of a sudden these mushrooms popped up next to the chickweed there. There's a couple more. A good rule of thumb is to never pick all of them. That way it's just good stewardship. If you pick them all, then there's not going to be any more next year. So I always leave a couple of them out here. I'll take maybe a third of them, that way that I can have some more next year so that they'll propagate. So I'll take you inside and show you how to identify them. Okay, so I got you guys back inside here, and this book here is my favorite book for researching mushrooms. It's the Audubon Society Field Guide to North American Mushrooms, and I've had several different books, but this one has the most comprehensive guide to the mushrooms in the Pacific Northwest, and it also just has the best pictures and the best descriptions. And the way that it's set up is really nice because you can see it has just really good pictures to describe these mushrooms, and then it goes over the different structures of the mushrooms and how they grow so that you can understand how these mushrooms grow and to properly identify them. It's like a fingerprint of the mushroom. So we'll set that aside and I'll show you what they look like. These are gorgeous. They're the shaggy parasol, and they're my favorite. They're just beautiful. They're huge, and they taste like a steak. They're just delicious. So if you flip through your book, you'll find out, you have stem size. It has a bulbous shape at the base. I cut them off so you can't see it, but as it's growing out of the ground, it's got a bulbous base on the bottom of it. So that's one way of telling. The other way of knowing this is a shaggy parasol is when you bruise it or you cut it. Kind of hard to do with one hand here. There we go. You'll see it start to turn red all around. See it turning red there? So it turns like a saffron or like a red color. And that happens anywhere on the mushroom. It doesn't have to be on the stem there. You can scrape it on the side of the stem, like down inside here. I'll give that a scrape and show you. We'll just bruise it a little bit. I'm not pressing very hard with my knife. I'm just barely rubbing on it. And you can see there, look at that turning red. So that's a dead giveaway because there's only one poisonous type of shaggy type mushroom, and the scientific name is the Lepiota richodes. But the book will give you a really good description there, and you can see the shape of the mushroom there. And then the best way to describe it is the cap is scaly, and it's got these little scales that you can peel, and it's fibrous, kind of fibrous. So the other way that you can identify mushrooms properly is you take a spore print. So how mushrooms work is that in these little gills, they send out spores to fill and send out to grow more mycelium in the ground. And the mycelium is kind of like the roots. That's what feeds, and this is the actual fruit of the mycelium that actually spreads the seed. So the mycelium grows on whatever it's feeding off of, and then it sends out these caps to reproduce. So one of the ways that the book says that you know that this is a shaggy parasol is the cap shape, for one. Obviously it's very fuzzy and it's got like fur on it almost. And in the bottom of it has these free gills, meaning that they're not attached to the stem. Free means that it's not attached to the base of the stem down inside here. If they were attached, then you'd see these gills curve up and touch the stem. So that's an attached stem, or attached gill. They'll even go into the diameter, or the spacing between these gills. There's like tightly packed, and then there's these moderate spacing in these gills. This type has a moderate spacing. Now all these things are just ways that you can be 100% sure when you're identifying a mushroom. So the other way is there's this little skirt here. Now this skirt curves around and attaches to the top of the mushroom while it's growing, and then when it opens up it leaves this little skirt on here. And on some of these mushrooms, the skirt is attached, like these are attached here to the stem. Others are free, where they'll slide up and down. They're not attached to the stem, they're free to slide. So when you're identifying, you look at the gills, are they free or attached? You look at the skirt, does it have a skirt? Is it free or attached? So these mushrooms, they have an attached skirt and a free gill. And the only poisonous look-alike of this mushroom does not bruise, like the stem there, how we bruised it and now it turns red and then turns to brown after a while. The poisonous variety does not bruise, and the poisonous variety also does not have a skirt. So that's how you know for sure that you've got a shaggy parasol. Instead of the poisonous variety, the Chlorophyllum mylobides. And the Chlorophyllum mylobides does not have the skirt. So that's a good thing you can do is you can look in the book and identify the mushroom, and then you go online and also take a look at some other pictures that people have posted of those plants. And the other thing you can do is take a spore print. So what I'm doing here is I have black paper, and you cut the stalk, you cut the cap off, the stalk off the cap real low, so that the cap sits on the paper flush. And then what you're going to do is you're going to leave that on there for a while, maybe 5 or 6 hours, and then lift the cap up, and it'll leave a ring on the paper, and it'll tell you what color. So the edible variety is white. The poisonous variety will have green, and it's pretty predominant, and it's pretty obvious actually when you flip the cap over. You can see this is going to be a white spore print, because look how white the bottoms of that cap is. And the greener type, you can see the green in the gills. So I'm 100% positive that these are shaggy parasols. And just like always, you always take a lot of mushrooms you want to cook first, because they're kind of hard for your stomach to digest. So it's always a good idea to cook them. So there you go. I hope that helps, and I hope you give them a try, because they're delicious. Don't be scared to try them out. They're amazing. So, shalom, never scared, always prepared. God bless.